Hi guys, welcome to AKA Love Talk. I am Marquita, and today we have another series of Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about it. Now, this particular conversation is really challenging for me. Some would may say it may be a little embarrassing. Some wouldn't even put it out to the world. But I would deal with any criticism or any negativity accordingly. I always say that this is a page for transparency, and transparent is what it is in different areas. So I definitely wanted to be very, very transparent today. Um, But before I get started, if you are new to the AKA Love Talk gang family, gang family, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are excited to have you. If you want to know what we do over here, we take care of ourselves. Okay, we do self care, we do mental care, we do mental health, physical health, everything that you can think about. We do different series of Let's Talk About It. So we talk about different subjects. And yeah, and I get feedback and I respond to you guys. And that's basically what we do over here. Hope you guys continue on watching and be a subscriber because we are lit. Okay. Um, but yeah, and thank you again for you know, watching this particular video. Um, so today's subject is transparency, and the subtitle would be the spirit of perversion. The reason why I chose this particular topic was because I know many people that wants to be delivered in the don't know how, or is dealing with it and thinking that they are by themselves. And so I decided to do this on if it takes someone to get delivered, then that's what needs to happen. Um, Again, this is going to be challenging for me because I know that a lot of people is going to watch this. And I don't want to bring negative attention to myself. But if it comes, that's what is going to happen anyway. I'm not afraid. I'm just nervous. um, so I'm going to go into the definition of perversion. It is sexual behavior or desires that is considered abnormal or unacceptable. So what could be, you know, could it be thoughts that you have? Um, Not more so acting into the thoughts, but just having the thoughts there, um, actually doing the act um, in an abnormal way, um, and having a visual or wanting to see something new on the internet, maybe, or stuff that's really unnatural or um, something that you wouldn't normally think about is perversion. That is sexual. So like people who think about kids in a way that they shouldn't. That's perversion. There's different stages. There's different steps of actually tapping into that. And that's what we're going to get into. Um, so I'm going to, tell you guys a story um, that I heard from someone else, and then I'm going to tell you my experience, and then I'm going to sum it up at the end. Um, so there was this guy, and at the age of 6, I think, a woman had him. She was like 23, and he was 6. He was 6, and a woman had him. And at the time, he did not know what the woman was doing, but she had her way with him in ways that a 6-year-old shouldn't have to deal with. I mean, like in different areas that shouldn't have been touched, um, toys and a whole lot of stuff. And so it became difficult for him growing up. He had many health issues behind uh, the act, you know what I mean? He had a lot of mental issues behind the act, and the woman opened up something he couldn't explain. Um, as an adult, all of those acts came about in his adulthood. He said, not really in his teens, because he was fighting it. So the more he fight, the more that he really didn't have to, he really didn't act in it. Mentally, emotionally, none of that. He fought against it. He got counseling and everything of that nature. Thought he was completely over, um, the situation. And then he ended up in his 20s feeling the effect. He said he met a young lady, and the kind of, I guess, spirit she had brought upon those feelings that he ran from. But in this case, it was a little bit stronger than he could imagine. If you guys see me looking at my phone, that's because I have food that I ordered and I want to get my food. Okay. So I want to make sure I don't miss the guy who's bringing my food. But so he said, it came upon him in a strong way, and he started to act in those thoughts that he had. He started to act in the actions, basically. And still working on it. The only thing that he did not do, he did not do inappropriate things to children, but he mostly did inappropriate things unto himself. He, yeah. I want to kind of not get into details because that is his situation, and he can tell it way better than I can. But I'm just giving you a back history of things that could have occurred that caused the situation in his life to have him at the place that he was at. He was a church boy, definitely in church. The person that did the things to him, went to his church, and she was actually his babysitter as well. Close friends with his family, and yeah, so he had to endure that situation. and it came up in his 20s. And he lived a lifestyle that was harmful to himself. And he said he decided to get counseling once again, but to come to find out the counselor that he had chosen dealt with a portion of what he dealt with. And so when you have two people, it's a trigger for both of them. I don't know why the counselor would counsel him knowing that, you know, this is what this guy is dealing with. Maybe he wanted to act into it with the guy, but I don't know. And the reason why I brought up this story is that, you know, again, there's different stages and there's different reasoning. We just don't grow up and say, hey, I want to do this to young kids. I want to do this to young, myself. I want to have these thoughts. There is something that opens up that door. And so I'm going to tell you my experience. So at the age of 7, um, there was a guy that, you know, someone in my family was dating. And in the midst of them dating, I don't know if why this person would look at me in the way that he did, but he did. And there was this one particular time he asked me to come underneath, what are they called? A sleeping bag. So I'm like, why do you want me to come in a sleeping bag? And he was like, just come here, come here. And I'm like, I gotta tell you something. So I walked closely to him, but I did not get underneath the bag. And so come in here, I'm gonna tell you in your ear. You can't tell your siblings, and you can't tell this person, you can't tell that person. It's just between us. And if anybody know me, I am nosy. And so I had one of those nosy moments. And so I got under the bag. And I'm like, okay, well, you got to tell me. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling hands. And I'm like, so I'm fighting, and I'm fighting for my life, and I'm praying inside of my head. One thing I was taught to pray. So I'm praying, I'm praying, I'm praying. Fighting, got my eyes closed. Next thing I know, everything stops. The person wasn't in the bag anymore, and I was. I know I was balled up, with my hands in between my legs, and when I moved myself, I still, I can't remember every single detail, but I believe I still had on, I had on shorts at that time. I still had my shorts on, but they were unzipped and they were unbuttoned. And so after that, I seen this person left, never seen this person again from that day on. I did see him on the news for actually just taking a young child's virginity. And I was just thanking God at that age that it wasn't me. Uh, and so I went on with life having that thought, really didn't know exactly what happened, always questioned it, had dreams about it, and things of that nature. So I'm going to speed ahead to 16 because I don't want to run out of time. At the age of 16, um, my family kind of went through a dramatic time. I don't know where the dramaticness came from, but it's like at the age of 16, my family separated. We lived in the same house, but we were not close, or we didn't have a bond as we used to in previous home. So we had just moved into a house, and I don't know, it's just like everything just went elsewhere. Everybody was just doing their own thing. And I remember being stressed that day. And I remember calling up a male friend that I had, like, because I knew him back in the day, and I knew he was cool, so I was like, okay, let me just kick it with him since everybody is not at home. I was home by myself, I was bored, and he's like, yeah, we have drinks and we have smoke. I said, okay, come get me. Call someone to come get me. I ride with them. We are, um, drinking and we are smoking, and we get to his house. Now, the person that was driving did not come in, but I went in with him, and then there was someone there. Um, I can't really say everything that happened because whatever was in the smoke had me blacking out. And so I was blacking out and blacking out. After that, I remember going up some stairs. I remember sitting at a desk. I remember him putting in an inappropriate video, and then I remember laying on the bed, but I don't remember like every detail. After that, I remember the guy asking me what is wrong with me, and I said, "What are you talking about?" He was like, "I can't get it, I can't, you know." And I said, "I'm a virgin," and he said, "Oh, that explains it." And then I blacked out again, and then everything was over, and I'm just laying there. Nobody's in the room. I look down, and I'm naked, like, and then I, go home. I rode with someone. He didn't ride with me. I go home. I called inmate, told him I was at home, and that was the end of the conversation. That was a terrifying experience for me because I never had that experience before. I didn't really smoke or drink as a kid. I only did it when I was stressed. And that was one of my stress moments. And I thought that I would go have fun with someone I thought I could trust. And yeah, that's the way I lost my virginity. So from that day forward, I was cautious and very, um, you know, very cautious. But I tapped in something that I did not know that was on him, and I made a bad decision by even calling and things of that nature. So along the way, um, you know, I got into this deep relationship, which is what they call, what do they call it? Um, what is it called? Oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, when it comes to me, I'll let you know. But it's mostly lust. It's not like a real relationship, but you be so in love. So I got into that, and this guy was very experienced, same age as me. We went to the same school, very experienced, had very much experience, taught me a whole lot. And, uh, I kind of fell for him, allowed him to, enter. And during this time, there were things that will come up, and I will have to tell him, don't do certain stuff like that because this happened. You know what I mean? At the age of getting older, after I left that relationship, I could not stop the vision in my mind. I was single. I was single for 4 years after that relationship. 4 years. I was with that person for 5 years. Single 4 years after that relationship. And no. I was single for a few till okay. So I stopped talking to him in 2007. Oh, 2 years, maybe a year, and I started talking to someone else in 2009. So um yeah, it wasn't long after, I guess. But you know that experience with that guy and the different things that he taught me changed my life. It was just multiple things, and I couldn't understand why was I falling to do these things. It was a lot of things that I know that wasn't right, but I did them anyway. And after I left that, I had that vision, and that vision, of wanting what he taught me. And uh, so what I'm saying is it turned into perversion because I was longing for that. And like longing, it was times when I would call him like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, like, I need you here right now. Not normal for me. I'm usually asleep. I worked, had to be up at 8 o'clock, but I had the urgency to get whatever we did done, if that makes sense. And a lot of people, that's where mine stopped. It's the visual. It isn't the total act. I don't have to totally act in it, but the visual I long for. And sometimes at that time, I used to hop from relationship to relationship to get that thing he opened up. And I couldn't find it in no one else but this individual. And that's why I was stuck with him for so long. That was the longest relationship I had, and I was stuck with him for so long because I had to have that feeling. It's like a high. When you get high for the first time, that high you always gonna try to get, or when you get drunk the first time, or some people even do drugs. Once you get that feeling, you want to reach that feeling again. And I wasn't able to, and I kept, jumping from relationship to relationship, giving myself away to get that feeling, and I was not able to, you know, get there. And that's a lot of people who deals with perversion. Now, I don't look at videos or anything like that, um, just because I rather, have the realness. Um, so I'm not gonna say that, you know, I was deeply into it. Um, Deeply into it is just going, paying and everything, paying other people, paying to see it. Nah, I didn't go that far. I did do a website at one point. I got on a website, and I got on the website and promoted myself, um, in a needed moment, but I also deleted it after that moment subside, and I would do that frequently when it approaches if I couldn't find anyone near or I knew. Uh, and so I had to endure counseling. Um, the counselor I had was not helpful at first. I mean, was not helpful. I had to go seek another counselor, and this counselor just held me accountable for everything. Everything, like, yo, that was stupid. Why would you do that? Blase, blase. He really, really told me about myself, and so I was grateful to meet that counselor. But that's what I went to counseling for. I think I brought that up to you guys before. And the reason why I brought up this whole subject is because we don't talk about it as Christians. And there is a lot of people who have been, um, you know, touched. It's been a lot of people who got themselves in situations and it opened a door to something that we just don't talk about. We always say perversion, perversion, perversion. You got a sex spirit, you have this, you have that, but what's the root of it? Where did it come from? And if anybody has seen Mike Todd's video, he talked a little bit about it, and he said that it's plenty of people in the Bible who dealt with it. And so he wanted to be the one to stand up and say something has to change. Something has to change. It's not okay. Especially if you take it as far as taking away an innocent person's pureness for your own sake. That's definitely a problem. And so I wanted to be the one to stand behind him and say I might not have went that far with the way he have went, but I definitely had the visual, and it drew me to sites and revealing things that shouldn't have been revealed. It led me to different relationships that I didn't even want at the time. Um, it was just for that sake. And yeah, and I just want to encourage anyone who is actually going through that to please get you some help. If you got to go through a billion counselors to get what you need, do it. It is not normal to sit and think about something that you may not receive. You may not receive that ever again. It's not normal. It's not normal to act in behaviors that is against your character. You know what fits you and you know what doesn't. And if you feel like you're taking things to an extreme, you need to get help. There is always someone out there that has dealt with, and there's always someone to help you. That is what the group is here for. We talk about so much at Grace and Mercy Season of Singleness. We definitely want to help in that area. Even if we're just a listening ear, I don't have to say a thing. My group don't have to say a thing. We are here to listen. Um, Again, we're not counselors. We just are here for whatever the community needs. Our women needs, our men needs, we're here. So even if you're a teenager that's dealing with that, we got your back. We are not judgmental. Um, like I said, there are several people who does go through that, um, and we definitely want to speak more about it so that we can free and be free. We can be free and give freedom. And so I definitely want to come on here and be transparent and talk about that. If you have any questions or concerns, comments, please put them down at the description. I mean, down below in the comments. This was so hard, but I think I did excellent. I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. And I am Marquita. Out. Peace, 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 peace. Oh, and if you want a part 2, comment below as well. I'll do it.